Alright, hi, I'm Eno.
My name is Jason.
And this is the 4th episode of Go Build It. We're working on Mile High Gopher's website, and for this episode we've done a little bit of work on the CSS and static assets, and we're going to walk through, rather than do all the CSS on screen. That's kind of tough for a person to watch, I think. That's all more or less a rough version of that's done, so we're going to walk through how we did it, and it's kind of a code review. I wrote the code, Jason will be doing the code review. And then as part 2, we'll do a deploy using Terraform and actually get it shipped out onto a VM somewhere.
Yeah, so we're just going to use Terraform to get the VM set up, and then we're just going to manually ship a binary onto the VM and run it either on your screen or Tmux. It's really like low effort deployment here, just to get something out there.
Yeah, exactly.
So do you want to go over the
So there have been a few changes from our last episode, and for the full details we'll be looking at the Git history. But for now, let's just go into our favorite editor here. The most interesting stuff here is happening inside the UI package, but before we go into that, let's start at the top just to review. Here's our main, still very small and very simple. The server has got some of the good stuff here. So I've added a route for assets, and rather than let all of the guts of how that works leak into the server, I've hidden it inside the UI package as an asset handler. The gist of what I did was I used a package called gobindata, which I think you recommended to me, to basically take a bunch of CSS images and turn it into binary data that's actually shipped as variables inside the Go code. Wrapped all that up and then put it behind this handler. So here's the handler. And this is the one piece that I'm not totally sure is the best way to do it. This is the simplest way to do. You can see the serve HTTP here is coming in. It's going to look at a path. We have styles, we've got a logo, and we've got a JPEG.
One thing you might want to do here is just pull off the last bit of the path here and then use that as a lookup key.
All right.
So it looks like you already have that here as send asset. You're giving it the asset name.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and do that as we go. If there's little things that you see that
we do that now, or you want to?
Let's do it. It's a nice little fix. Let's clean that up.
So actually, you can generate the asset names with the path in it already. And that way, you just throw the path into the gobindata, and it will give you back the.
Oh, that's cool too. That's cool. All right, so.
You want to try doing that?
Yeah, let's see if we can do that.
So that code we would have would be send asset. And this would be our URL path. And then mine types, I think we can get that from the asset as well, hopefully. And then basically you want to say error here. If error is not equal to nil, then we do our here. Do you want to print of? Yeah, I guess that's fine.
Yeah, you're looking at the logs to be interesting, not super important.
Yeah.
But
Alright, so send asset, so you give it the MIME type. I'm going to eliminate this response writer. So we won't have to give it the MIME type anymore. It should be able to determine MIME type from the asset. So let's go into the assets thing here. There's a lot of metadata in there.
yeah, so this is part of the gobindata, and for the viewers, this is a nice way to wrap up a bunch of CSS files, images, and so on. In fact,
Any static asset.
before we take a look at this, I want to back out a little bit and show you the script, just so we don't have to run this command every time manually. I put a little script together here called sync assets. And the idea is you'll run this go bin data command. I'm setting a package called assets. It could be anything. I think by default it's bin data or something like that. So the idea is you change your CSS, you run this script, all of a sudden your binary data is updated and you're good again. But anyway, let's go back to where we were. So you just
somewhere
trade
in
an
here,
asset.
I think we can get the MIME type.
So this is all the generated stuff from gobindata. There's a lot of interesting stuff in here.
So there is name, size, mode, and this file info thing. Maybe we might not be able to get the MIME type. So do you want to just let's just do it the way that you're doing it. It's a bit bad because we're static statically like saying these are the only 3 files we can serve.
Yep. Yeah, it's clearly like a bad setup if you're going to have like a massive application with a lot of static assets. For a very small little thing, I like to start with just the basics, get it working.
So that was under.
Just throw away the UI stuff.
UI.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's go back to the UI handler.
It's clear though that this is not going to scale. So as soon as you have like maybe one more in here, you should probably fix this.
To pull data from assets using more dynamically. Cool.
Yeah. So you can see here that we're switching on the request path, and then finally we have the send asset here at the bottom. This is the gobindata. It's loading the binary data. If we didn't find it, I'm just going to write a 404 out. Otherwise, we'll set the MIME type, and then we'll write the file. So those are the assets. I think we could probably show the site now. I made a couple of changes in like how we represent the data in our.
Let's do. Just go build. I don't think there's any changes. Right?
Yeah, go build should do it. That works too.
So, what's this stuff?
So there's the site.
Yeah.
It looks a little better than our first go. Still, there's a lot more that we could do, right?
Yeah, we showed the Photoshop comp last episode. So this is just kind of like a first stab at getting that working. So yeah, we just display the 3 different meetups and the top 3 events for those meetups.
Yep.
Chronological order.
Yep. Because the meetup names don't line up with the actual cities. Like I think the meetup name in Denver is like Go user group or something like that, and this one's like the Denver Go user group. That's not the other one, you know. So there's strange names. So I changed the data structure to be a map and actually have like Boulder as the name and Denver Tech Center. One other little thing that we did, or I did. Let's see. Let's come back here. Last time we had a great big template right here on this index template. I've cleaned it up a little bit, and I'm using this parse files thing, which is kind of nice. There's that string. I'll show you in a minute. And for various partials, you can just pass it in too, and you can kind of it concatenates it all together and knows how to evaluate it. So, if you look at the UI templates, we have this nice index file. This is a lot easier to edit and look at, in my opinion. So, for small strings, it's probably fine. But,
Yeah.
also, because we're doing the same
like
kind of events-
partial templates.
yeah, this is a little partial here. I've defined a method on the data that's going in called Boulder events, Denver events, DTC events. I feel like that's appropriate because these are kind of domain-specific terms. We're talking about Colorado meetups, so we want to have these various functions defined. And then if you take a look at the template, over here I call it events. The key is you have to say define, end of course, and then this is just the usual stuff that came out of our index template. So that's about it for our UI
It's
package.
fun. Messing with some templates.
Yeah. All the documentation is in the templates package, but it's a little hard to parse in places. It's not super obvious how to define templates,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of
I haven't
examples.
done
nowadays.
really anything with templates and Go, so this is all new to me.
Yeah,
So,
but it worked out pretty nicely.
I think that's about it for getting people up to speed. So the gobindata stuff, like was saying, is just a command that you run that will look at a directory, pull in all those files, and make them into Go source code. And there's plenty of options that you can use to generate that source code.
Yeah, while we're talking about it,
Usually, what I do though is instead of having like a script to generate like that, I'll
Yeah.
have a Go generate.
oh yeah,
generation.
that's pretty cool.
That way, you just cd into the package, you run Go generate, and
Yeah,
Well, good with
that's
that.
pretty cool. That's a nice little improvement. Let's go ahead and do that. I like that idea, shall we?
Cool.
And then we have one less
Next,
script.
Some people might not have, have experience with Go generate. So where's the script under here? CSS.
So the good stuff there is right after the push D.
Yeah, so we won't need to run pushd anymore. So just go under UI assets this where the actual files are?
The files live,
Okay.
yeah, right there.
So do you want to?
You could do a doc.go. I've seen people do that.
The thing is that it would have to. Is this recursive currently? Like if I run gobindata here, is it going to generate bindata.go inside of itself?
I don't know.
Let's see if it's in here. Bin data. Yeah, so that's what's been happening. That's probably why we saw that big diff.
Oh,
earlier.
interesting.
So I would recommend like having a separate directory that just defines all the files, and then having the Go source code that it generates be in a separate directory.
So let's do that as part of this.
Yeah.
We'll
So-
remove that massive binary file that we don't need.
So let's do that, and then maybe just keep it UI.
Yeah, sure.
So we just do UI.go, and then just throw a Go generate here. And in this case, you'd say the package is UI, and you want to do the assets directory.
Yeah.
And this might mess up some of the padding that you had, but actually might make it better.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and try that. Go ahead and generate. So no news is good news.
Cool.
That's a code. So we should have a bindata.go. And this should not have our bindata.go file. Still has a bindata read.
So let's throw away. I don't think. Did we delete the bindata.go inside assets?
I think maybe these are just functions that are part of the bin data. This thing froze up. Okay. Let's go ahead. Let's go back to assets and check out git checkout code or just bin data. Code. So we had about 1.8 megs here, and over here, same, about the same. So I guess it was
So it's
smart
doing the
enough.
right thing,
It
maybe.
was smart enough to exclude that.
Hmm.
So do you want to just keep it in assets, or do you want to pull it out into here? I kind of feel like mixing the Go file with a bunch of other files is kind of confusing.
Yeah, we sort of did that with templates, so let's be consistent and do that with assets as well. So Go files will live in the UI package, and various non-Go files shall live in the directory.
Alright, so if we rebuild here, we should have some problems with local Go source file. So the handler.go is still importing that. Just do Go. So this can just be instead of assets.
Yeah, that just the path goes away entirely, which reads a little nicer. Assets.asset is a little annoying to me.
So we asked for the asset. The other thing is I think the paths are going to be different here. So if we go into the asset guy here, Vim does not like this file.
So I think from the handler's perspective, the path will still be the same because the index is going to request root assets / whatever.
Let's look, see what I initialized this thing to be. So you can see now, instead of being hero.jpg, it's assets/hero.jpg.
That's cool.
So I think if we go back over to here, we're going to have to say, just like pull off the trail, the slash at the beginning, and then just pass in
Okay.
the r.url.path. r.url.path.
So we still have this MIME type issue, but that's
Yeah.
something we can probably resolve in
Let's go and just pull this thing off here and say r.url path. And then I believe there's like strings dot trim, and then you give it the string, the cut set, which is the things that it's gonna trim off. So we want to trim left. So the string, we want to say just trim off that guy, and then we can switch off of this path, and then just pass that into all those guys. So that, so now becomes path.
So let's get this working. And you can see though that we're a long way towards the refactor you were proposing earlier, where we can really just look at the file extension.
Yeah.
Set the
Kind of like a
based on
map,
that.
as I was saying earlier. You just have like a map from like extension to MIME type, or you can use like there's like tools that you can use to discover the MIME type based on the magic numbers of the files. Okay, so let's see if that all worked. Over here. Looks like everything's working.
Great. It's our test suite right there.
Yeah. Human test suite. Alright, so let's go ahead and just commit that. Leave the agenda off. This is just removing the bit data.
It's one of the downsides of having to commit binary data.
Yeah. I wonder why it's going so slow though. Maybe it's because we're running some video capture stuff. So let's hit yes. I'm just gonna do
You just add the files.
Add the data manually and learn UI. So I don't want to wait there.
Cool.
Alright, get CI. We'll save on the dates. Assets. Sorry. Bin data generation to use GoCheck. Do you want to delete that? Do you want to delete the before we do that? The script file, so we don't need that anymore.
Sure. Yeah, that's a single commit.
Shit, didn't get harm.
That's all right. Great.
So we're good. Good.
Cool. So that's kind of nice. We've taken a script out of the picture. It's really tricky. All right, so let's go do that refactor that we're thinking about.
So using the extension.
Yeah, let's start with there. That's the simplest thing.
Was there anything else you wanted to do?
No, I think that's probably about it.
So we can do our own mapping here. I'm wondering if there's something we can use, like a Golang magic type. Look magic. Have you ever used like Look Magic?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, it's the best name ever. Look Magic.
That's cool.
It's magical. It basically looks at the beginning of the file to try to detect what
Like
type
the
of
initial
file it is.
bytes and so on.
Yeah, like an elf binary will have like elf in the beginning of the file. JPEG will have like JPEG, or PNG will have PNG. So like all these different things, they call them magic numbers. And so this thing, I guess, uses that to discover the MIME type based on those values. It might not be good for us to use because I think it is a binding to a dynamic library.
Yeah. Oh.
Which, it's probably not
I mean, since
good.
we're only dealing with 3 MIME types, I feel like the simplest thing is just to do the
Yeah.
map.
So let's just do a var and call it types.
Or you could even make it a field on this asset handler. That way, it's a private thing. I've been reading. I don't know if you've been seeing some of the conversation happening between Peter Borgen and Dave Cheney about wanting to remove all package state
Globals. Yeah.
globals.
I mean, I completely agree with that. If it's mutable state, but for when you're declaring something like a constant or like a map that's never going to change.
Yeah, right.
Like I don't really.
Just data.
But I mean, whenever I see like something pass in like that, it's like, well, when would I want to provide my own?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, there are use cases that you don't imagine. Later down the road, someone else might want to provide their own map of extensions to MIME types. So yeah, it's kind of good to be flexible. Do you want to pass it all the way through, or
No. Let's front now. It's just a private detail of the handler. We don't share it with anybody.
I'm in the Dave Cheney camp though. Just so everyone knows.
You just like to play devil's advocate.
Yeah. So we need a MIME types field here. MIME types, which would be a map of string to string.
Like types to the map or the asset handler, so we don't have to be doing this case statement.
So just make up a map here, and then actually we can do that.
Yeah, you can just go ahead and like initialize it right there.
And just do like CSS to text CSS PNG JPG JPEG. This will be image PNG.
Cool.
And then down here we can just say line type and give it the path. So then we can just delete this. Do we want a whitelist handle anymore? Because we don't have a case anymore for the 404.
Yeah, right. What would it look like? if we did that?
So what I prefer to do is just say assets, giving it the path, do this first, and then error.
Right, that's cool. And then you'll have your 404 if the error comes back.
And then maybe assets. This is already here, like this. So maybe we receive, instead of calling asset out here, we just receive the asset,
Sounds good?
which I believe is a slice of bytes.
Yep.
Every time I
So,
GD into this thing, it takes forever.
it's a big file. I think it's because we have that logo of ours. It's pretty, or the logo or the background is pretty sizable.
So we'll say data, or file. So a slice of byte. Delete this guy.
And then you just need to.
This is we already had duplicate code here because we had the 404 in this. So this can just go away. This goes away. I don't really think the send asset is necessary anymore. Right?
No, it's very
There's a
little.
pull this up here.
That's cool.
So we ask for our asset, which we're going to say is data. If the error is not equal to nil, then we do our 404 right header and return. Else we generate the MIME type and
Can you get rid of that?
just leave here MIME type of path. And then this will be the cool.
Yeah.
Eliminate this. So
We need our
type
line type function.
Just say, yeah, just a path. So we want to take the path. We want to say string.split.
Yeah.
I think that's a
Yeah, I believe some strings got split.
That's
Split on the period.
So yeah, we got the S in separator, so that goes back path and this. And then
No, I wonder as we're doing this, like this is a very OS thing. You think there's an extension function in the
Oh,
OS
maybe.
package? That way we don't have to.
going get file extension file path.
There's an ext.
So just get our file path dot ext, give it the path, and goes back our ext, and then we return map. Sorry, this will be we'll do it as a method.
Yeah.
We can't do it as a method because it shares the field. we should be with. So let's say asset. H. So H dot, say type. Types.
Great.
Define line types, this will be each dot line type, which will require us to define our receiver, which is each. Cool.
Great.
So now
Let's run our manual test here, just to make sure everything looks okay. Perfect.
Cool.
So that's a nice little change. All right, cool. So let's put that together as a commit.
Okay, I think today is just going to be a short episode. We had a few interruptions and we have a hard stop that we have to meet. So we just to recap, we went over the asset stuff that we set up using gobindata. Did some refactoring that to make that a little bit more dynamic. And then we started on doing some Terraform stuff, but I think maybe next episode we'll pick up on that.
Yeah.
Where we left off, just getting a Terraform deployment set up with a VM and DigitalOcean, and then maybe that episode we can go a little more in depth in setting up Docker and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And shipping it in a container.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So I guess that's it.
All right. See you next time.
See you guys.